Greetings, YouTube shave fans, SuperCurve honing fans, type 2 diabetes rescued by keto fans, and carnivore fans. Bill here. Gonna do a shave. Soap I'm using today is fine. What do they call that? Clubhouse. This is a take on the scent of Clubman. I'm using the Sterling. I'm using the Simpsons Emperor number 2. I used the double whammy of the rich man's pre-shave. I used Pro Rasso. Let it soak in a little while I was doing other stuff, and then I went ahead and made some of this lather up and painted it on and let it soak a little while, and then I've treated myself to some hot washcloths to kind of soak. Sometimes that seems to help improve a shave if I'm shaving other than right after coming out of the shower. This is a surprisingly good soap. It is. I do believe there is a tallow base to this. This is not the hard milled fine soap, but this is their substitute after the vendor that made that soap for them quit doing that. It is Memorial Day weekend. This is the date over at the Bludgeon and Beatdown Shave Forum, where they memorialize all the people that the moderator eaters, that rabid majority of moderator eaters, people that they've thrown out and trashed. Anyhow, the tool today is new to me. This is a 5/8 Ti. This has the Grelot insignia on the scales. I got this from the Superior Shave on his sale while he was visiting Thiers-Issard. I'm a couple of things that I am in my hobby in shaving. I'm a technique guy. Okay, I value technique, whatever tool I'm using, even though mostly I'm using straights now. The other thing is SuperCurve honing, and the third thing is the different blank form shapes. And this was one that I had seen my friend Leon, the long haul tanker. He has one of this shape. This is a 5/8, has a thumb notch in there. I think his is branded Artist Shaving. And the brand, what they put on them, it really doesn't matter. Although this particular one does have the Grelot little bell engraved into the spine. This one does have the jimps top and bottom, which I like, and the thumb notch. This is a 5/8. I usually prefer a little bit larger razor, but I wanted one of these to see how they work. I got this, and I went to hone this up. Initially, I also at the same time I got another Coticule, which I really wanted to try and hone this up flat. And if you want to see the honing, stay to the end. I will tie in some of the honing. I made a video, and the initial run and the beginning of it didn't take, so I missed part of it. So I'll try and catch it all in there to show you how this all went. I wanted to try a pure Coticule edge. This did not do right out of the box with stropping. I could have shaved with this. This is a little bit better than that is. But I wanted to try a pure Coticule edge, and I ultimately had to SuperCurve it. I tried to do it flat. I just think I think there's techniques in flat honing that just have eluded me forever. Other people seem to do fine with it. Yeah, I'm bleeding. I had a blemish there the other day. I whacked off when I shaved. So based on my initial with that is that and although I ultimately did this with convex hones, I did not use my normal stropping thing. I brought it in. I'm probably going to redo this again. This is a good edge. It would have been a good edge from the factory, I think. One of the better ones. But anyhow, you'll see the Coticule that I got and me honing that somehow or another. Basically, the new one, what I did was I shaped it on the Jared, ultimately shaped it in the Jared plate in a long dimension. But I did try and hone that straight. I did my initial touch up from the factory was just with a strop. And I was going to shave with it, but I thought, you know, because I looked at it under scope and under a glass, and it looked well. It was, you know, I didn't see any hacks or nicks or whatever. And I've seen edge fractures on TI stuff that I had to hone out, you know, little chip outs that I didn't like. This one didn't have that, but I'm not so sure this has the thin blade grind. Anyhow, I was playing around. I came up with these things. Okay, so if this is your bevel, okay, and this is the bevel that I was shooting for, I'm thinking the reason why it's so hard for me is because I have to lay the razor flat, get the spine down, and get it so this lines up, and then I got to do this. I got to hone all of this times the length of the razor, okay, and do it all at once and all perfect. And it's just been something that has just eluded me. But when I got to, because the idea of a curved hone, okay, I could do this, and then when I learned that I could do different shapes to get in here and a different shape to get in here, and that I didn't have to do the whole length of the razor, that I could come along and I could do like this little bit and this little bit and this little bit, and I could, you know, work, you know, very typically the area that I spend the most time on is here, secondarily here, and then normally the middle just kind of falls in. But you know, I was thinking about that, and I had reason, those pieces of foam, I had reason. I saw those at work the other day when I was doing something, and I'm always looking for an alternative method to test with a cutting edge. Which reminds me, I did this, and I was gonna shave with it, and then I kind of did the packing peanut, but it wouldn't do it. It would not, no matter what I did. I went and got multiple hairs. I tried to do that. I've not been terribly successful with a hanging hair test at all. But it looked really, really bad. So instead of shaving with it just stropped, I went back and started working on flat stones, and I don't know how much of that I'll show. I'm pretty happy with this razor. I do like the feel of this. It's more rigid, has a more rigid feel. It's not light and flexible like those Dovo 5/8s, which I'll probably buy more of those Dovo 5/8s. I really do like those. Dovo does grind really, really thin. They get them flexible. And when you get used to liking that thin and that flexibility, it's just not necessarily a good substitute for it. A lot of guys I've seen a lot of guys, some recently with I think recently Eric Cajun Blade used a wedge. Today, as a matter of fact, I believe Long Haul Tanker used a wedge. And I've never had a wedge, so that's all kind of a new thing to me. It would be a new thing to me, but it's like I'm not so sure I could hone a wedge. You know, I do have flat stones, okay, but if I can't do this on this, you know, it's like, what makes me think, okay, that I could do that? And it might be larger on a wedge. What makes me think that I could do that? And especially if it's a smalling wedge, what makes me think that I could possibly even do that? I just don't know if I want to try it. The handling of this with the grip and the thumb notch is nice. I do like this. There might be one of these left in inventory at the Superior Shave. I'm sure he'll get more of them. They seem to clear out the ones that he got. And if you look at the TI website, there are a couple of other ones that they keep in that particular blank form, but it's not a overly popular blank form. But I'm glad I got it. I'm not sorry I didn't get it. Oh, when I made these up, let me get some lather up here going. So I'm gonna try and end this shave pretty quick. I'm gonna get a little more water on that. Mostly I do bowl lather. This one I did not. This one I just kind of in the soap thing, and a bowl I'm able to whip it up a little bit more. A lot of people exclusively face lather. I guess today I'm exclusively face lather. Anyhow, one of the things when I was making these little triangle things up, you know, and thinking about it and all that kind of stuff, I thought back to somebody who had made the statement that a convex honed, something that where you concave the bevel, would not last as long as this because of the amount of support in here. And this was here to serve as an illustration. Okay, so these are basically the same forms if you line the triangles up. Okay, if you line the triangles up. Okay, but then this one has the hollowing of the bevel, which is what I create. Okay, now you could look, let's say you move it that much. Okay, that much, you go to this width. Okay, and this is not scale, but it does demonstrate why I think that the edges that I create actually last longer than a triangular edge. Okay, so if we do the opposite of that and we move, okay, let's move this to the back, and let's move, okay, the same amount up, okay, the same amount up. The width has not changed as much as it has changed in this. So you're wider here than you are here. So my thought, it is my belief, it's a theory, you could say, you could argue it if you want, is that an edge that you have hollowed the bevel out on, I personally think, okay, based on my experience, and I could list why, okay, but I really don't want to list why. Okay, let's just leave it at that. But I could list why, but it is why I think that the edges that are coming off a convex tone last longer. That's my theory anyhow. So I am gonna, this is shaving good, but the common belief that many people comment that, and I don't want to say it's a belief, it's a reality to them, that conical edges are smoother. Now, it may be a smoothness that you don't recognize till after the shave. I don't really know, but I'm shaving with this, and I find this a little toothy. Now, was it because my stropping changed? And I didn't go through my normal progression of strops on curving strops. It very well could be. I think when you see the video on this, I did do a deep curve in with the most curvy stone I have, and then an intermediate. Most curvy stone that I used was the Lily White Arkansas, and then I used the Coticule to do the secondary deep curve, which was my first Coticule, and then I used this other Coticule, which I did try to do flat. I did. So I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to try and go back and touch this up. And the final stone I'll use either my trans arc or my black arc. I think my normal edge performs a little bit better. Without needing quite as much cleanup as that I'm having here. Again, not a bad shave, not a bad shaver at all. A little bit of alum stone work. I think I'm going to be cooking a couple of pork shoulders this holiday weekend. Haven't done that in a while. Fire up the teeny Weber Smoky Mountain, the little teeny one. I put 2 shoulders in that, and it uses a lot less charcoal than the big one. But that's all I can do is 2 shoulders. But that'll last. I'll take that and I'll put some of it in the freezer. Just the right amount of sting on the alum, just right. And I'm gonna splash a little bit of witch hazel. This is Sterling. They make good witch hazels. This is a menthol lemon with witch hazel with aloe. So this is a pretty good skin conditioner. I kind of got away. I initially started off with the Thiers, and I kind of got away from that because it just seemed a little more expensive than. I seem to like the additive, the aloe additive that they have in there a little bit better. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to finish off with the accompanying fine clubhouse. I do have a real clubman. This, I think I like the scent of this just a little bit better than the other stuff. Now, of course, I still got the other stuff in a plastic bottle, and they say you're supposed to decant that into glass. I just never did it. But one thing, there's a solvent listed on the ingredients in that one that this one doesn't have, that lends itself to have a stinging sensation that I like. I really, really like. Whereas this has a stinging sensation from the alcohol, but not that same. It's just a good kind of sting. Okay, so this is Bill. Hoping everybody has a great holiday weekend. Stay safe. If you care to tune in for how I hone this, I'll do the same thing as I did the last time. It seemed to be, a number of people seem to like it, where I can fast forward it and then I can voice over what I did and cut out a bunch of stuff, because I got like 2 hours of video, okay? And nobody's gonna wanna sit through all that. So take care, everybody. We'll catch you next time. Bye.
Here's the new razor. It's a 5/8 Thiers-Issard, Le Grelot label on that. That kind of unique 5/8 blank. It does have the Grelot engraving on the spine, and it does have jimping under the thumb and on the top of the thumb notch. So good feel. Out of the box with the factory edge, I gave it my inspection. I lost the first video of where I actually did all this stuff. I did the Sharpie and swiped it on the flat side of that Trans-Arc, and I found there was a couple of areas where it was a little bit needy. It was something I thought I'd take it to the strop, and the first thing I did on the stropping, this is a 1/4 micron CBN on the felt side, and I redid the leather side. I tried the leather first, and then I pulled out the 1/2 micron French strop that I did, where the abrasive is on the black side, and then I used the rough out leather, and then I went on to the smooth Horween horsehide leather and did the stropping, and there I am with push cut to the side. I'm not really getting a good push cut on when I'm doing a large part. I can get a little bit. I determined, well, it's maybe okay. I could probably shave with it. So at that point, I was going to do that. Here's a show off of my new Coticule. It's a number 8 boo. Got it from Superior Shave, and here's the rubbing stone that came out. I wanted to learn how to hone on flat with these. Then after some further inspection, I figured, well, let me see if I can get it just a little bit better. I pulled out the 10th micron paddle strop that I have. Nothing on the brown side. The black side has 10th micron CBN. And I decided I would go ahead. I'd do a little bit of work on that to see if I could bump the edge up just a little bit before I shaved. Again, still planning on going with a factory edge, just with the stropping. I wish I'd have had not fouled up on video, so I'd had all this from the beginning. That paddle strop that I replaced the leather on is from sharpeningsupplies.com. Here I'm going to show where after the 10th micron CBN, where I'm going to go on this leather. I'm deliberately showing how I just am resting the handle in my fingers to gauge the downward pressure necessary, which is very, very little, where I'm just really, really trying to minimize the amount of stress that I'm getting all the way out to the edge. Come along, do the pecking peanut test, and if you shake it a little bit, you can maybe get a little bit of a push cut, and this is typically not what, with that kind of force required to go into the long direction. That's typically not what I would shave off of. So I decided I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to see if I could touch this up on my new Coticule. Went ahead and gave it the flattening treatment, and did the pencil and the diamond plate and all that stuff. So I'll put the slurry stone on. This is not, this using Coticules is not my expertise in honing by any means, but it is something I wanted to learn. There's a lot of people that do very well with this. A lot of people been having great success. I love to hear the stories about how smooth Coticule edges are. It's been something that kind of eluded me. My other Coticule, which a little bit further in the honing process, you'll see that come out. But I wanted to use this one. This one I thought, being a little bit more pale, would be a little bit less aggressive. And some of the work I'm doing, you can see heel leading, and where I kind of lean on the heel a little bit on some of the strokes, where are things that I kind of do with a shape tone. And because there is a specific area around the heel of this that does need a little bit of work, you can feel it. You can see it. You could see it in the packing peanut test. And after the inspection, I could see with that initial stuff, I was working predominantly out towards the edge, and some of the back part of the bevel, which was kind of untouched, which would kind of indicate that that there was some shape to that bevel. It's not that much, as I was kind of pointing to. So I'm doing my packing peanut, and I decided, well, let me see if I can bump it up just a little bit with the very common practice of a light work on a Coticule with running water. Again, the variance in the strokes based on the feedback I'm getting, not only from the touch and feel of how I feel that moving across the stone, but what I'm seeing. I also thought, well, let me try the pressure control, holding the stone in the hand. It's been something, another one of those skills that success has eluded me using that, but I've watched it. It's something that I want to try, something I want to learn, because people do this, people practice this regularly. After an inspection, I'm sure I decided that what I needed to do was I needed to go back. I needed a little more material removal, so I'm trying to put a rather heavy slurry on the stone at this point, and then I'm gonna do some work with that stone and do the Dalukat. I think that's how you pronunciate it, where we slowly diluting your slurry. Again, I can't be 100% sure. At any point in there, I know I have shaved with razors that are less sharp than this, and but I this is something I wanted to do, and went through the dilution and to the running water, and just wanted to see, can I get this? Can I take this factory edge and can I bump this up to something that I like? And there I'm just gently with my free hand putting some touch on there to see, okay, so what do I feel as I'm going through there? I decided that I wanted to smooth out that edge, because Coticules do have, under magnification, a little bit of a scratch pattern. You don't get quite the tell on the liquid moving around that you do with like I'm using here a Thiers-Issard. I think you could probably see that in the heel area, I'm not moving the liquid quite as much. I think that's probably a pretty good sign that the bevel was not fully set fully across the edge. Okay, setting the bevel on flat is not something that I'm terribly experienced at. So my guess is that as you go along, you'll find that, okay, so I gave up on this method, but it was something that I did want to try. And again, there I'm trying to isolate particular areas on the razor and work specific areas, because I just did not like to just take that whole razor and just, because there's one area of the blade that needs a little bit of a work more so than the other. I just did not want to put all that hone, because I don't use tape. I didn't want to put all that hone wear on the spine on the entirety of the razor, just because I needed to bring in one area a little bit more than the other. And I'm not necessarily thinking that what I'm seeing in terms of an undercut, that I'm getting what I should be getting. So I continue to work at it, and visual inspection, I'll pull the peanut out in a little while and check that with the peanut and see what I'm getting. And then I finally decided, okay, I've had enough of this. This is something that I just don't know that I'm ever going to have the skill to do. So I pulled out my shaping plate, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shape up this conical because I want to have a conical edge, meaning entirely done with a conical. So I put the Z-Lion 60 grit diamond sheet on there. It really, it's a lot cleaner, I think, than using 60 grit sandpaper. But the nice thing about conicals is when you're going to shape them, they shape up much easier than a lot of other stones. And did the pencil marks, and I'm going to do the work keeping. You can see the elliptical pattern where I'm dropping all the way around the edges, and I think there's one more. Okay, so you can see how the area where the center is getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and I go until all the pencil marks are gone. Now one could easily do another set of pencil marks to double check, and it probably wouldn't take too many swipes, and I could go to a finer grit of sandpaper, which if I was doing it in Arkansas or a synthetic stone, I probably would. In this case, I'm not going to, for the simple reason in that I'm going to take the stone, the soft arc that I had shaped into a concave shape, okay? And that's kind of like a dressing stone, and I think I can smooth that out with that soft arc a little bit better. You can see how much of the stone is coming off there, and I do believe that I'm getting a surface prep that is not going to be too terribly aggressive. Okay, so here's the back beveling my first conical. This is the deeper curve, going from the opposite direction on that plate at 90 degrees. I'm going to dress that stone a little bit, get a little bit of a slurry on there. There's the slurry stone that came with that. Try to build up a little bit, get some cutting action. Works pretty well, pretty fast. Maybe a little deep for finishing. It's kind of why I abandoned the use of that for stone for finishing and use it pretty much mostly for back beveling now. Here's a stroke that width does fit the whole razor. You can't see it there, but the heel and the toe both need work, and you can't see how I'm rocking in my stroke as I go across with maybe a little bit more time, as shown here on the heel where I'm kind of leaning into the heel. It's part of the method when you're honing on a compounded curve, where you just measure, you look at what you're doing, and what I'm seeing is I'm seeing that has significantly cut into the back bevel after coming off the arc, which you'll see under magnification, an arc or like my Suhiro 20K, you'll see a very smooth and then a slurried type stone. You'll see almost that sand blasted finish. Checking with the packing peanut, figuring, okay, let's go back out to the edge with the shaped conical, and this is just my typical stroke where I'll on a narrow stone, and it whether it's a wide stone or a narrow stone, it really does not matter, because let's say the contact area going across the stone may only be about a half of an inch. You constantly have to move that razor across there, and I could see at this point I could get that slice cut. I'm not getting the push cut that I wanted, and I think in my last video I showed where it's very common for me to go back and forth between the two different dimensions This can be done, but because the dimensions are just 90 degrees to each other, this can be done by working from different angles of the stone. In my case here, I have, I believe, a more aggressive and more curvy stone for the back bevel, and a smoother, less aggressive stone where I'm working a little bit further out towards the edge. I made enough progress that I figured I'd go with the standard practice of going with a little bit of running water, and you can see the amount that's coming off. It because it's accumulating on the stone there. It washes off pretty easy, but it's a bit more, I think, metal coming off, which shows me I've got some more work to do here. That J-type stroke or swooping type motion, I've found that pretty effective. It's something I've added more recently, particularly on my Suhiro 20K. Speaking of the Suhiro 20K, I'm going to pull this one out and I'm going to work way up on the edge again. I want to try and see a small area polished. Again, my goal was to go with strictly a Coticule edge, but I'm working where I'm on the different shapes. I'm trying to shape the bevel and understand, and one might think, okay, you can see the amount of steel that's coming off of there. It's really not. I'm probably using a little bit more torque than one would think one would need on one of these type of stones. I'm just not sure about that. Okay, I'm starting to get a little bit better push cut. I apparently was not happy enough with that, and I thought I wanted to put a deeper back bevel in there, which, again, this is sometimes what you do. I'm working way back in the bevel on this. This is my Lily White on the SuperCurve. And that'll show a different scratch pattern, and I like to take this black arc out for a while. This is the smoothest stone that I have other than the Suhiro 20K. But there's a lot of there's a lot of razors I've done very well on this. It is nice that you get the whole blade. You can do the rocking. Having a little more real estate is always nice. There I'm trying to blend in the difference of the deep curve by coming in that angle where I hit a little bit further away from the edge on that particular stone. Still not what I want to see. A little more work into the back bevel, and if you ever decide to take up convex honing, you'll see that going back and forth between the shapes can be something that can benefit you. A little bit slicing type cut after clearing out the back bevel a little bit. Here I'm going to go to the mid curve, the 90 degree, the 6 foot wheel. Put a little bit of work to kind of blend in a little bit more of the curve in my bevel area. Using the newer slurry stone, which is, I believe, a little less aggressive, a little smoother. Didn't take a whole lot of time on there. And then here I am going back to try and approach a finished edge with just the use of the Coticule, so I can actually experience What is it like? Can I get a nice Coticule edge? There I'm getting a push cut. It's not as good as what I normally like. It's good. It'll shave pretty well. Spend a little bit more time on running water. That's such a light pressure there. A lot of times what I'm doing, can't be 100% sure how effective it is. There I split the packing peanut in half, because a lot of times if you do that, you're cutting into the middle, the meat of one of those things. They do cut a little bit easier. It's just another read on where you're at, what you've done. A little more work, very light pressure on the water, and a fresh packing peanut. Not the perfect drop in that I would like, but I decided that I think what I wanted to do was see if I could strop that up. Here I am. That's half micron CBN on that rough out. I'm assuming that's some sort of a leather, but that is, I believe, the side you're supposed to put the abrasive on. Some people, I believe that they would exclusively just maintain their razors just with one of these things, which I believe can be done. Went on to the untreated rough out leather. I did get a little bit of improvement over my last peanut test. It could be that I just there was just the shape of the edge just was not quite good enough, and that the stropping is just pulling that edge out. The strop at 1/4 micron from Sharpening Supplies, and then I go to the 10th micron French paddle strop. Give that a little bit of work on the rough out leather of that one. I don't know that I've ever shaved off that. I seem to like to, no matter what, be final stropping on a smooth leather. I may have even, I'm pretty sure I even took that razor somewhere in there and I took it back on a hanging strop, and didn't necessarily see what I was after, but here I was, and that is push cutting in. It's not dropping in perfectly, but I think it's good enough to shave. Thanks for listening. Hope everybody has a great holiday weekend. Take care. Bill out.